everyone, my name is Eddie. I am here today to talk about the Sailworks Flyer, a brand new twin cam sail that is out, and I've got the man who made it and who has been ripping around all summer on its prototype with me, Bruce Peterson, here to help.
Hey Eddie.
Bruce, thanks for coming. Let's just dive in. I think some people out there that are getting into foiling may wince a little bit at the sign of a foil-specific sail, simply because the cost of getting a board, a foil, it's one more thing. You know, is this something that's a need to have for the first-time foiler or a nice to have?
Nice to have. You'll need it after you foil a few times. Once you'll go through the same progression we went through. We tried all our sails, all our models, the wave sails, the Huckers, the retros, the NXs, even the Ripper. And we found in each sail an attribute that we really liked for foiling. But it wasn't all in one sail. So what the Flyer represents is the accumulation and the combination of all the best attributes that are optimized for foiling. And basically it's a lower tension, low aspect rib, cam system, but narrow mast sleeve, 4-batten twin cam, and it gives you a very precise foil, a little bit tighter leach. So we drew on the best things of all our sails. The low aspect 4-batten that came from the Gyro. The tighter leach is from the Hucker. The cam system is from the NX. And putting all these things together, this is a combination of geometry we've never made before. Nobody's made a sail like this before. It just doesn't exist. Really straight left curve, low aspect, really deep profile, tight leach. And this is purpose-built for foiling.
So what is it about a foil sail, or foiling specifically, that has different needs for a sailor?
So when you're on the foil, there's very little induced loading on the rig. That is the apparent wind and the wind pressure that builds up on the sail. When you're regular windsurfing, you've got all the drag of the hull going through the water, and you get a lot of pressure building up in the sail that you have to lean back against. So in regular windsurfing sails, we put a lot more rig tension in the sail to keep the sail stability as that pressure increases. So once we got on the foils, we realized that the camless sails, even our softest wave sails, weren't fully pulling out to their maximum depth. There just wasn't enough pressure in the sail. You're so efficient when you're on the foils. We weren't getting that induced loading to hold the sail shape out. And we started riding, Huckers were Dale and my favorite sails when we started foiling. And the first thing we did was put a cam into the Huckers.
Yeah.
And that immediately helped with the drive and the stability of the sail.
So if a cam helps with the drive and stability, why wouldn't it say like your NX race sail, or why wouldn't a race sail be great for foiling?
So we rode the race sails, and the cam shape and the real very refined aerodynamic profile of a race sail was really good on the foil, that stability. But what we didn't like was the excess weight, 7, 8 battens, 4 cams, and of course the wide mast sleeve. If you drop in the sail, which happens frequently when you're learning the foil, it was just a bummer to water start. But no question, the stability and the more precise aerodynamic shape, and then the induced shape, the camber-induced shape, that was a real benefit. If you want to race on the foil and go faster, then the race sails are definitely going to help. But that's really, that's advanced foiling. So we wanted to make a package that was really accessible, that a first-time foiler can get on and feel it. But the biggest benefit of having the cam is the stability to the foil trim that it gives you, because the sail pressure is much more stabilized. And then you don't have the foil moving in and out, the pressure moving up and down on the foil and moving forward and back as you sheet in. And so it makes your foil trim much more controllable.
I tried it a couple nights ago, and that was the first thing I noticed. In the past, all my foiling experience had been on wave sails. I always felt to some extent that my stance was radically upright, and I was in more of a defensive posture, constantly adjusting for the wind. On this, I found that suddenly I wasn't so fearful of gusts, and also I found it extremely pumpable to get going. But the big thing I found was that suddenly my stance, because this sail power felt so trustable, began to mimic that of my normal windsurfing stance.
Yeah, definitely.
And that to me was what made foiling easier. Yeah. So for someone that's getting into foiling, perhaps maybe they're balking a bit at the price of the boards and the foils. How can they tune their traditional sail, the one they may already have, that they might learn on before stepping up to this?
Well, softer is definitely better if you can get any of the rig tension out of the sail. So using a softer mast, not pulling the downhaul as much. Tighter leach will pump better. You don't need all that static twist, because you're not fighting all that induced load from the drag of the board. So those are all things you could do. Definitely less downhaul, a smaller sail size. If you have an option to put a softer mast in your sail to get some of the rig tension out, that really helps. You know, the negative side of that, a softer mast is going to suck some of the shape out of the sail, which isn't, you know, a good thing. But those are ways you can bias your sail trim to improve it for, you know, or optimize it for foiling.
Thanks for joining me today, Bruce.
Thanks, Eddie.
I just want to point out behind us is Viento. These guys have been out ripping around in Viento east winds, which is something that I think prior to foiling was a no-go. Yeah,
it was harder to do. You know, it's kind of a risky place. You don't want to get flushed down the toilet here when the wind dies. But, you know, we got a brand new iWindsurf center on this pylon right behind us, so it's you know,
and you only need
7 minutes and 7 or 8 knots.
Unbelievable. Bruce, thanks for joining me.
All right, thanks,
you guys can find these sails at bigwinds.com. And yeah, it's time to go sail. Let's get out there. Thanks.
Take care.